panels and the other judges to introduce themselves first, yeah? Starting from here.
Okay, hi all, my name is Yehezkiel, you can call me Yel. I am one of the panels here, and I came from Universitas Pajajaran. Hope you all have a great debate.
Hi everyone, I'm Dimas Devadli. You can call me Dimas. I'm from State University of Medan. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Adriani Patricia Effendi. You can call me Adri. I will be your trainee educator today. And I'm from the Universitas Islam Bandung, and all the best to everyone. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Shafila. I'm from University Christian Maranatha. I'll be the trainee educator today.
Right, thank you so much. Before starting, so in OG we have Trisakti, in OO we have Islam Sultan Agung, CG Pembangunan Panca Budi, and CO Mahasaraswati Denpasar. Under the motion, this House would prohibit publications, export reports, infographics, journals and articles, etc., with the purpose of making economic projections. Before starting, probably a reminder for everyone to, POIs are highly encouraged, so please do offer and take at least one. Second of all, please make sure that you also follow through the equity guidelines, yeah? So without further ado, let's just start the debate by inviting the Prime Minister. Here.
I would like to ask permission to just use my phone for the timer. All right. Let's see. Okay. Good morning. No, good afternoon, everyone. With that, I will just begin my debate. All right. After COVID, the economic is perking up, finally. There is a rise of online trading due to the advancement of technology during the quarantine, during COVID, right? So what happens here is, there's a lot of people with maybe lack of economical knowledge, lack of trading knowledge, but they want to try their luck in, for example, trading, right? So because they don't have the prerequisite knowledge to advance in this economical world, they rely on something called economic prediction. Do note that the nature of economic prediction cannot be said as a fact because they are not facts. They are basically prediction. They are guesses made by quote-unquote experts, right? But you also have to note the word publication. Publication means it's publicized by media. And you also have to note the characteristic of media on its own right. So I will explain that in my speech. What can you expect from my speech? Of course, obviously some framing because we're the OG, and also we have one substantive argument. And with that being said, let's just go straight up to the burden, right? The motion-based burden here is to explain what does prohibiting publication looks like, right? So what does it look like? Banning it, we're gonna do it by legal means. Basically, this is already existing in status quo, as you may call it, because accurate information being framed as facts is what we call hoax. They are untrue information that is passed around. And there is already law for hoax. For example, Undang-Undang ITE, right? So this is why we have a legal basis to also prohibit economic prediction because as I characterized earlier, they are just prediction, but they are painted as facts for people to follow. And that can be really, really misleading and impact negatively on them, which I will explain later on. So how does it manifest, right? How does media become biased? I will explain that later on in my argument. But also the likelihood of the media being biased is very, very high, which I will explain again later on. Next, on the logical burden. So, okay, why does media equals to bias? As I mentioned before, media, if you think about it, think about any publicators. Think about Kompas Gramedia, right? They're huge. People rely on them for information. However, you must know that there is the top 1% that controls these publicators. They are the mega rich that are not afraid to get their hands dirty in order to manipulate the majority, that is the newbie or new traders, right? Those who don't have enough information to filter out what is true and what is not, those who just blindly follow this economic prediction will be the most vulnerable actor here. As I said, media is not objective, and it's also definitely should not be seen as a metric of how one does their economical activity, right? You should not rely on economic prediction because, as I said, this is my first substantive argument, media is on its own right very biased. Why? How is it likely for media to be biased? As I explained, they're owned by the top 1%. Obviously, they're going to cater toward these people. Well, the economical prediction, because people don't cross-check their reference these days. They just see the headline, which can be attributed to the lack of reading comprehension in our country especially. They just see the headline, oh, for example, Antam is going up, right? They're predicting to be going up. They don't cross-reference it. They don't check the data. They just accept it raw. What happens here is, this can be misleading. This is very easily misleading because these people, oh, okay, I'm going to invest on Antam. Why? Because they say that Antam is going up. They don't check the numbers. And with this, there is this power imbalance held by the media publication that, oh, okay, we can just basically do anything, right, and write it off as a fact, and people will follow. This is how they will manipulate the country's economic by, benefiting off these people who are clueless, who are new in this economical world. They are basically using this newbie and feeding them with unbased prediction, for example, unbased prediction, right? Just so that more money. And what have I explained here? I explained that economic prediction is biased, and how it is biased, and why is it bad for the most vulnerable actor, which I said to be those who are new to economics, for example, right? So what is the trade-off that we're willing to make here? We are willing to trade off the accessibility of economic prediction in the name of a more accurate information and eventually a more neutral and healthy economical world, economical stability, basically. What we're willing to trade off here is, okay, the opposition might say that, oh, but economic prediction is very accessible, right? And as I said, newbie doesn't necessarily have the information they need, and they just have to use anything that's accessible to them. Yes, we do agree on that ground that, yes, newbies do need economic prediction. However, we believe that because of the characteristic that this prediction is biased, we should not rely on this, which is why we should impose a legal ban, and we should prohibit this publication. And NPI, before I move on. Okay, go on.
Well, in the very first place, you should know expert report made by academical, for example, students or the lecturer, ladies and gentlemen. We do believe that the factor that is credible. And if the problem is media, why you prohibit the expert report? Thank you.
All right, so your point is basically on export and import, right? Yeah. Okay, what we tell you is judges, not everyone has the knowledge of export and import. You have to accept that. For example, if I ask you, what's the current import price of lead, for example, you wouldn't know, right? You just follow what the media says, which still stands why my point about how media and publication in general being very biased will affect negatively towards the most vulnerable actor here, which is these people who have limited knowledge, but they have the money to do something with it. However, they're being misled purposely by the owners of these mega companies for the publication, right? For the publication. All right. Hold on, let me just find it. All right. Is that any POS again? No? All right. Which is why, what have I told you, judges? First of all, the opening government have characterized perfectly how media on its own right and publication is very, very biased and therefore inaccurate. Next, we also have characterized economic prediction as almost a weapon towards the people who have limited knowledge toward economics and who the most vulnerable actor here. That is, those who are new to this, for example, economical trading world, right? We have also told you what is our trade-off. That is, we're gonna trade off the accessibility that this economical prediction provides in order to achieve a better state of the economics, because there will be less misinformation, there will be more accurate facts, because these people without this economical prediction, because they are banned, they are forced to find their own information. They are forced to do their own research. They're not just gonna follow the media. They're not gonna be lamb following to their slaughter, which is why we're very proud to support the prohibition of this publication by legal means, which already existed in status quo, i.e. Hukum ITE. Because what we deem economic prediction is very much like hoax, and there's this form of gerrymandering in economics that will happen in status quo. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Prime Minister, for the fine opening. Now to open the case from OO, inviting Leader of Opposition. Here.
Wait.
Okay, first of all, my name is Edward, and I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, first of all, I'm going to review some of the things that the opening government has said. They said that this cannot be allowed because it's a form of hoax, this kind of prediction of the economic predictions. First of all, a hoax in the first place is kind of a misleading information that is willingly spread by the perpetrator. This cannot be a hoax because it's a prediction in the first place. It's framed as prediction in the first place. They are made by certified experts, and even if they turn out to be wrong, it's prediction in the first place. And the people that follows this kind of prediction should know better in the first place. And they are businessmen, right? They own a corporation. They in the first place, if the government said that the newbies in this kind of field are in danger because of this is simply not true. Because in the first place, the battle of capitalism is a very fierce one, right? And even in the field of newbies, they should be able to at least research it better. They should like think or look twice or thrice in this kind of field. And then we enter my argument, in which economic predictions are useful for the masses in order to actually know what to spend or what their next move is. So my argument is prohibiting economic predictions would reduce the economic power of the masses. Why this is likely to happen is that most company or store or home-owned stores, depends on what you look, depends on the current trends of the society. And these economic predictions are exactly that, the trends of the society. For example, during the pandemic, the demand of the tissues skyrocketed, like the demand for the hand sanitizer, tissues, toilet paper, something like skyrocket, leading to stores or something like supermarket or stores or corporation that manufacture this kind of things, boost their stocks or boost their focus in some kind of this product to make. And leading to stores increasing their stocks, and this is helpful, right, for the company and stores and some of the masses that own this corporation in order to make the correct economic decisions for their growth. Without the existence of this, there will be more funds or more effort from the masses to know the current trends are. Meaning that the funds that are being used for researching instead of actually bolstering their products or bolstering their stocks instead. And since they can't really do research in the scale of a journalist or an expert, there's a big chance that this research may be actually wrong. And instead of like journalists, which they have peer-reviewed studies, this kind of home research cannot be like very dependable because, like I said, the scale isn't as large, and leading to the funds potentially being wasted on false information. In our side, even if the predictions from the publication are wrong, they're still salvaging because the research at least doesn't come from your own money. And then we enter my second argument is that the motion is limiting an entire genre of journalism. Isn't this basically a limitation of the freedom of expression? And because obviously, like predictions like this are basically what these experts are trying to help the masses by actually sharing their expertise on this matter. And because this is kind of the thing that they do, they are economic experts for God's sakes, and if the government decides to limit this kind of genre, that is basically it's kind of a genre in the economic journalism, right? People make this kind of prediction all the time. People make predictions of like people to follow. even for their own gain. And for limiting this kind of expression, that is basically the expression of themselves wanting to help the masses or helping the denied, helping the masses, or having the willingness from themselves to help the society or to spread their thinking on what people should do in their next move is basically, as our side has said, the limitation of the freedom of expression. That is it from the opening side of the opposition. Proud to oppose.
Right, thank you so much, LO, for that fine speech. Now extending the case from OG, inviting DPM. Here.
I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judges, understand that under our current economical status quo, the world is driven by capitalistic means. What exactly is capitalism? Capitalism is something that is held by the value of private property, meaning someone having an ownership of something. This is even more further amplified by our current status quo, having the status quo of monopoly. As Natasha have said, media inherently is something that is owned by someone due to the existence of private property. And media is not, most likely, more often than not, under our current status quo, is not the only private property owned by a certain person who holds a monopoly over something. For example, the TV news TV1 that is also owned by Lipo, who not only owns like a whole sector of like houses, but also other payment methods like OFO and such. Meaning these people who hold these medias are also have their own personal importance, also have their own personal benefit in mind when they want to influence a certain demographic of people. Simply put, this kind of media narrative can be classified as some sort of economical gerrymandering. We are willing to propose that. First of all, to get a couple of stuff out of the way before I move on to my extension, I would like to address a couple of things that the opening opposition have said. First of all, they said that, well, newbies should have known, investors should have known, investors should have been smarter, they should have this, they should have that. Factually, as Natasha have said, the likelihood for especially vulnerable actors, for especially these newer investors, for especially the normal working class who are just investing for an extra money or just investing to make ends meet under this current harsh economy, under capitalism, is very high for them to misinterpret media, for them to have a lower literacy level, for them to be more reckless, for them to be more under pressure when making their own decision, i.e. making them very easily influenced by media, right? But the fact that the opening opposition themselves said they should have been more critical proves that even the opening opposition acknowledges the fact that this media narrative, that this media influence that is given can be misleading, can be wrong, and can negatively impact the people. That itself should be enough reason to justify the fact that it is not proper media, it is not proper information that is spread, it is hoax. It is hoax that is perpetuated, that is spread in order to benefit one powerful individual who already holds power, on awareness, who already holds power on influence, and who already has a chokehold of power on the current economy, right? They simply put, though we know that the ideal of the reality is that we want these people to know better, but factually, these people don't know better, even though the ideal exists. Just simply put, that case lacks likelihood, as opposed to ours, which considers the actual reality of the situation. Second, they mentioned something about scarcity. We believe that this is an arbitrary and artificially made metric of something to push for their media. Now, why does this matter? Not only does following the media narrative or the media influence to invest in something that is small, invest in something that is temporary, harmful in the long term for these small investors, but this proves further the impact of media narrative, the dangers that media narrative can put on the scarcity, on the level of scarcity. For example, the example they given is on toilet paper during COVID. This makes people panic buy. This not only impacts the investors, but this also impacts the general everyday people who genuinely needs to buy stuff to make ends meet, right? It makes the scarcity of toilet paper especially more vulnerable for people who don't have means to access stores, mega stores, or don't have money to hoard it in huge amount. That also creates shortage for those people, i.e. worsening the impact that false media narrative or like these bias predictions can have. Now, they said something about research costs money. Now, I'm going to explain this further on my extension later on accessibility, but to put it simply, to learn a couple of things under our current status quo, knowing that this world is highly digitalized, is to mean that there's going to be a lot of resources. For these investors, if they want to learn, there exists a lot of resources. And that is something undeniable. As even right now, if we want to learn coding, we can learn it for free, fully free classes of Harvard, right? On our current status quo, there's a lot of means for us to learn things for free. Meaning accessibility should not be that much of a problem for them to learn or to research. Why? Because in the first place, research doesn't cost that much money. As Natasha have said, research is deriving data and adding and like predicting based off of that data. To get access to this data is not something that is like existing behind a paywall on this current status quo. On top of that, the loss from investing or like following the media narrative has a higher likelihood. Why? Because despite what experts say, even though they've said, well, there's experts. But again, these experts are also experts that exist under capitalism. These experts are also someone who is under the media's power. They are under the chokehold of the media. They are under the media's payload, right? They are paid by the media. They are paid to perpetuate this influence. They are paid to give out these predictions. There still exists no reason or nothing to ensure that these experts are unbiased. Now, to further on my extension, why is it still not good for people to follow guided bias, even though that guided bias might be sometimes correct? Now, the counterfactual in our case, as opposed to what's happening in status quo, is that without this sort of predictions, people will be forced to make their own predictions. How would that happen under our current case scenario? As we have said, accessibility should not be a problem, as a lot of resources are available without the paywall, right? Now, these small investors, will reshift their focus on learning, on actually finding those resources and getting their own prediction, which in the long run will not only benefit them as it ensures a more personalized investing, but in the long run, it will also increase the inherent quality of the investment market. As now, the investors are based on like the public's prior research, rather than just following this one single media narrative, meaning that the market in itself will not only be influenced by one person who holds the monopoly, but also the actual investors, right? So even if it helps them, the impact on the market just further pushes monopoly. Another thing, why prohibition should be justified. Natasha has touched on this a little bit. I'm just gonna further delve into. Our house said that prohibition by law isn't just simply justified, it is necessary. Why is it necessary? Because it is the law's responsibility to protect the people, especially those who are vulnerable. As we have said, this will impact not just those who are like who's the big monopoly, but also especially those who are vulnerable actors and the people. It is the law's job. It is not only just, it is necessary for the law to prohibit and to protect these people, right? Now, to talk about accessibility, to explain further how this would be compensated under our side, even though they will not have this ready, quote unquote, predictions on the ready, but now they will have accessibility towards learning resources, which would further push the incentive for them to learn and to actually improve the quality of the market, which leads further as to why predictions needs to be subjective, meaning they now can make their own personal subjective predictions that actually suits what they need as an investor, which is why we are proud to stand. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, DBM, for the fine case. Now, to extend the case from OO, inviting the yellow here.
Okay. Am I audible? Oh. Test. Am I audible? Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, my pronouns is he and his, and my name is Sultan Agung. I'm from Universitas Sultan Agung, and I will start my speech in 1, 2, 3. So first of all, I'm going to define what is exactly a publication of making economic prediction means. This means, as an expert, we know about economics very well, like my first speaker said. We share our information in order to make other people have a good or better planning in their financial decision. So based on our check and balance analysis of how is useful this year reports gonna be, we are partly to oppose prohibition of economic prediction publication. So we said that we already have our analysis, right? So this is our analysis, like, and then it's also for the rebuttal for the government side that they said this information is to be like a misleading, like a media is to be like have a bad headline, and it can be have bad false information for people. And like I said, this cannot be like have much of weighing for their side, because like we said, we have already also have expert from economics to share their information, and that's not just like a from people who don't have an economic and then have interest for economic to do this. We know that media is wide, like we know the media is so like not just like so one media that's just focused the sources information, and then there's a lot of media, right? So this basically is give a beneficial impact for vulnerable people. Like they said that people have less economic knowledge. It's a vulnerable actor. I think it's very wrong, because people who less economic knowledge is can like access for like a media who already have some economic prediction, and some other media like journal or expert already have an expert from it to write on it. This is have people who expert at economic at first, right? So this is technically have less harm to the like a misleading or anything. So even if it's to do misleading, like this is still a good. Yes.
How exactly will you ensure that experts who predict those are unbiased?
Okay, so the first one is we have a lot of research, right? So we have a lot of research that's expert from the first place is can be biased or not, and then because we as a people who have interest in the economic, we already do a lot of research, and then this was my point is when you do prohibit the publication reports, then you said that you can access from information that's considered that's so free. I think this is so wrong, because information is when the publication is prohibited, it's not free. Like some information that have a great verification, have a good quality information is delivered by people who have expert in this and on this side, like let's say that's like a tax financial expert that have good information about how manage your tax or anything, and about the investment expert who like in the some company who have an investment expert to lead their financial. Of course, it's not free. Of course, it's not like some accessible for the people who have less economic knowledge, because we know that people who have economic knowledge is basically from the people who have a mid-range or low economic, right? So basically, if we do have share like our public economic prediction, we know that people can like have a raw picture of what their decision after it, right? And then because there's a lot of information, there's people who will take this seriously, will gonna be do serious research, and then will lead them to make a good economic decision with that's have more accessible than the government said than the government said before. And then we know this give more good and harm in our analysis, that like for the company, this is so good for the company, because we know that as an economic actor, we always play with a risk, right? We always play with a risk management, because like we already know in economic, we always deal with some risk and anything. So technically, as an economic player, we always need data, need prediction, because we basically always looking for the step forward and how is likely economic prediction held. You said research for investment towards other company, they cannot just blindly to do it, right? So maybe the prediction is not always right, because it's not a fact, like they say. Yeah, this is not always right, but this is give them a raw of picture for their financial decision, right? So that's let's say some prediction is highly focused on some like they say some Bitcoin is now higher, Bitcoin is now a great investment or anything. Like if there is so much media that have to tell about it, then I think this is not like a like some blindly misleading information, right? This is maybe a reason for it. There is maybe this really have a reason for the prediction, right? So technically, because this is also an economy, this is also a company who have a higher financial power, they can use their prediction to their raw picture to move the step forward, and then they can do it with their financial expert to do some furthermore better step. And then this is for the company, and then it's for the less economic people. Like I said before, have a good benefit, like I said before, and then have really. I don't see there's have a big harm for those like less economic people, because like we said, we have more accessible information for those less economic people. We have more like a reference to less economic people, and then if they say that we offer to misleading and they afraid to be wrong, we notice that this is also a prediction, right? No matter you are a fair expert or what, if you are in the prediction, there's a chance to be false. And then if you from less economic knowledge, if you always learn from the prediction, and then you gonna be wrong, and then you got to be have an experience to begin with, and by those experience you have more better step like a planning for the future. So that is not happen in the government side, because they prohibit the public information. This is so less accessible for the vulnerable actor. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Jello, for that fine speech. Now moving on to the closing half of the debate, inviting member of government. Here.
I'm so sorry. Can I go to bathroom in 1 minute, please?
Okay, we're gonna have a 1 minute restroom break. Yep, please, quickly, yeah? Right, since everyone's here, we're just gonna proceed with the closing half of the debate by inviting member of government. Here.
Check.
Prediction is a medicine to soothe the fear of uncertainty. It acts as a crutch for us, the uncertain, to walk through the dark hallway of life and uncertain way of life. Fear makes people do anything, and therefore it can also be capitalized for us to do something right. The OG told you the media will lie without any reason whatsoever, but we as the closing government will also tell you why it has such tendency. Second of all, we'll also tell you how prediction is impossible to do given the nature of the market itself and how these publishers could capitalize people and making profit from the heralding of the opinions by using these publications themselves. In addition to that, we will also tell you that the ordinary people here is going to become the playthings to the experts who publish this kind of publications and not the investors who are also in cahoots with this kind of experts. Those are the things that we are going to explain in the CG. First of all, I will tell you some parameters that we have to absolutely take into consideration. The natures of the people itself. So what are the natures of people? People want profit, right? They want money. They are also afraid of losing money. Therefore, even a slight predictions or even the slight rumors that they hear will immediately make them make a movement, whether to buy some products or whether to buy some stocks or whatsoever. They are irrational. Second of all, the natures of the market itself, right? Warren Buffett itself, the notorious father of infestations, has already told you that market is irrational and therefore it cannot be predicted, right? Markets is affected by a lot of people, by a lot of factors, and therefore it is inherently impossible for us to predict how it will be in the future, right? But second of all, the natures of the publication itself. The publications provides you graphs and logicalizations to persuade the people who read the publications themselves, whether it is a graph or whether it is a data for something, but it is something that is not guaranteed because the market can change at any time, affected by any kinds of factors, regardless of the graphs that have already been provided in the publications themselves. Now, engaging to the OO, our counterpart. The OO believes that by banning this kind of publications will limit the freedom of expressions of the people. Like, notice that the freedom of expressions doesn't include to lie to people and manipulate to others, right? Which is what these publications often do. Their intentions may be to help people, right, in the very first place. Like, it is an altruistic intention. Like, say that even it is highly unlikely to happen. But then again, there is no certain guarantee that their predictions itself is going to be correct. Look at what happened to these people who bet their everything into these predictions, and then the predictions turn out to be wrong. They will be harmed, and they will blame anyone but themselves just because they follow the predictions itself. Therefore, it is a bad thing to do. Second of all, you believe that it helps people who have no knowledge about the market to learn from it. Listen, the knowledge about the market itself can be achieved through the books that explain how the market works and whatsoever without making any predictions or whatsoever. Therefore, I think there is nothing that limit these people to get the knowledge regarding the market themselves if we ban this kind of publications that make economic predictions whatsoever. Now, coming on to my arguments.
Point, sir?
Coming on to my argument. So we believe that first, economic prediction leads to an unnecessary epiphany among the people, right? People who are afraid of losing money will jump into the opportunity to secure the money themselves. For example, the experts claim that this company will get its market valuations rising in the future or whatsoever. These people who want to get more money will immediately jump into the opportunity to get more money and will then buy the stocks and compete with people, which will lead to to a panic buying and such. And on the contrary, on those experts who even who predict that this company evaluations will decline in the future, for example, people will immediately pull out of the buying of their stocks and whatsoever, and just to secure their money in their mind, right? Therefore, this kind of publications can also be seen as a threat for those kinds of for example, the company rivals or whatsoever, because there is a gerrymandering attempt that these publications can make in the future, practice or whatsoever, right? Now, what happens then? This FA money can also be used to can also be capitalized, and thus will only benefit the predictor. How is it going to happen then? This is, imagine that an expert says that a certain stock of a company is going to be rising, right? How they will make this into a realizations? They will immediately buy the stocks of the company themselves, which then will make the evaluations of the company rise. They will ask their help. They will ask help from their friends also. Similarly, investors to make it happen, and thus people will see that the market valuation is indeed rising. Therefore, the expert is right. They will immediately jump into bandwagon and then immediately rising the evaluations of the market of the company market themselves. What will happen then? Notice how stock works. The moment the market evaluation rises, you will immediately get profit from your stocks, right? Therefore, the moment the market evaluation rises, these experts who have invested in the very first place, in the very beginning, will immediately get the profit, right? Therefore, right after that, they will pull out their money, and then the evaluations of the market will slowly go down, stabilizes itself to its true market evaluations. That is how they are going to capitalize these vulnerable people, right, who believe the predictions of those kinds of experts. That is how it is going to be. That is how it is going to be materialized on our side of the house. But second of all, a publication is also created to market in general. That is the justifications, right? How we have already told you how these experts can capitalize from people, and here comes the tendency for them to do that. The main publishers are either entrepreneurs like Warren Buffett, for example, or company-backed parties, right? It is something that cannot be. It is something that cannot be denied. Now, these people have that kind of tendency because of who they are or even who back them, right? The prediction made is to create the narrative that based on a certain data, for example, this graph, this field or stocks is going to become prominent. Therefore, therefore they make people intentionally ignore any other possible factors that may impede the rise of the stock itself, and will make them invest to that kind of field and invest to that kind of company, and therefore making profit, right? The market is also irrational, and therefore it cannot be predicted. So what will happen on our side of the house when we will ban this kind of publications? People will rely on the judgments basically without any other influence or whatsoever. Therefore, discussions happen, and there will be no. That's what I'm very proud to propose.
Right, thank you so much, Member of Government, for the fine speech. Now, to move on to the case from CO, inviting Member of Opposition. Here.
Excuse me to use my stopwatch. For gender pronouns, it's her, and I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, we think by doing the publications of the research, especially for the expert, we believe that will be the good side in our side of the house rather than in the government side of the house. When they are being afraid with the hoax and also the media playing, we think if the experts is the one, or if the experts or the researchers are becoming the one that will do the publications, for example, because the experts will doing the report, for example, or do the research based on the analyzing. This prediction comes based on the analyzing of the economic conditions or even the situations that of the economic in some country, in this country, for example, and also comparing with the current status quo or current lifestyle of the society, and then that will be that will be becoming the prediction itself. If not of the experts or even the researchers that becoming the one that publishing this kind of news or even these informations towards the society, then the possibilities of the hoax or even the misleading data informations that will be spread toward in the society will be higher, and even it will be getting serious and even worse at the very first place. If the government side of the house afraid of the media being biased, and also their claim of the media is really bad, they claim that the media is really biased and also really bad, but we think, first thing first, not all of the media is really bad, because at the end of the day, there will be the check and balance in the researchers or even in the reports that will be published by this kind of experts or even this kind of researchers, because first, because this data is easily, because this data is published in the society or even the internet or even the news portals, for example, another researchers or even another experts can easily get this data and also can easily do check and balance between this kind of predictions and do more deeper research, for example, in the future. And then the next thing, in every country, we think there is the experts of the economic, for example, where this experts of the economic that the country has will be coming one of the taking care of this issue, and even the media will spread some hoax, for example, or even invalid data. We think that will not have the tendency because happens because when this data is getting viral, for example, then the society also can do check and balance at the end of the day, and if there is the hoax and etc. The government can take an action and step into this kind of issues or problems because there is already the rules and also the regulation for that kind of issues. And then, all right. First thing first, we need to know that the function of the publication, the function of the example of the economic predictions is actually is. First thing first, about the inflation, for example, or even the price of the gasoline that need to be taken care in the country or even in the world. The publications means that they will share this information to the public, and public has the access to the information that will be spread or that will be shared to, of the people. So the government actually wants to protect the economic conditions in their country, where the government has the job to take an action or make the regulation if there is something issues or even economic problems that can that will have the tendency happens in the future. And so the researcher also has the job in doing the research, for example, and etc. Our stance is not to let the researcher to do our stance is to let the researcher to do the economic predictions where because what is it harms if it is prohibited, right? The first thing first, the government will not has the government will not has if there is prohibited, the government will not making any step, for example, or even any actions in order to protect the country about the possibility of the economic problems in the future. So if the government can make the regulations, especially about economic purposes or even the economic problems, possibilities, for example, the inflation and etc., the government can create the regulations in order to protect the society itself and to create a better economic in the future. The second one, in order to create this kind of betterness, this kind of research or this kind of economic prediction will spread the awareness towards the society. We think that most of the people, especially in the developing country, for example, they have the they have the lifestyle that need to be fixed at the very first place. For example, like the impulsive buying, for example, or even they don't have the characterizations through saving their money, for example, or do the invest and etc. By publishing these economic predictions, at least there will be awareness for the society to get access to this kind of issues. So it will prepare the society about the upcoming problems that will happen in the future. Let's take a look for the example of the COVID-19, for example, that causing a big harm of the economic aspects for the society and also for the government itself. If there is no predictions of the economic that is being published in the society, we think there is no awareness for the society to at least to take a step to the saving for the future, for example, or even to take a step to protect their economic in the future, because awareness will comes to the society, especially to the developing countries, where the people because of the warning itself by this kind of predictions. And why this kind of economic prediction is important, right? First thing first, prepare the society to against the inflation, for example, because they actually know about what the possibility problems or even the harms in the economic in their country will happen in the future, and also at least they have they will take a step to save their money, for example, or to do the invest to their money, for example, in the future. And also by hiding this kind of issues or even these publications is not an injustice actions or even the immoral actions that can be done by the government by prohibiting this. That means you are cutting off the jobs or even the value of the experts itself, where they have the value in doing this research, this kind of research, because the research that will be done by the experts need to be as useful as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Member of Opposition, for the fine speech. Now concluding the entire case from CG, inviting Government Whip here. And just a quick reminder for everyone, POIs are highly encouraged, yeah?
Check. This. Okay. I'm gonna start my speech at 3, 2, 1. The first of all, we're gonna rebuttal about what opposition say. The first one, oh, okay. Check. Check. Okay, distribute. Okay. I'm gonna start my speech. Oh yeah, if you want to POI, you can just stand up. Please don't make any sound. Please don't make any noise. Yeah. I'm gonna start my speech at 3, 2, 1. The first of all, we gonna rebuttal the opposition side. The first one, we are not saying your prediction is always wrong. What we are emphasizing is what market is irrational. For example, like natural disasters can affect the markets, and this can be predicted in our society. Publication of economic prediction are opinion heralding in our society, making people ignore that markets can change with a snap of your finger and this positive, this expert. So, I'm gonna extension about my first speaker say, when the publication of prediction is banned, people will use their judgment and do their own research instead of being heralded by market manipulators. And the second one, if they fail, they won't blame anyone but themselves, so it creates less chaos. So I'm gonna bring my speech. The first of all, we believe that economic prediction is not guaranteed anything. People become a victim about this policy. People who don't know specific education in their economic always gonna get this hoax in our society. For example, broker is everywhere, include in media. Broker use this way economic prediction word to get more money in our society. That's why we must prohibit this motion. This gonna manipulate people in our society. This gonna bring chaos in our society because of this policy. The second of all, we believe that we can just trust in true information in our media. We can depend to prediction word in this our society. Economic prediction is a dangerous word to every country in this world. For example, we know some country become a development country. They from developing country until a development country. During that country already buy some many, as we know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. How long that can survive until the country not have resources to build their country gonna be better. This country gonna focusing most building like an education, reconstruction, agriculture, etc. It's gonna bring destruction to their country if they believe with the
with the prediction economic. So, and the third of all, market is always changing anytime and anywhere. My first speaker say we can predict about something like economic world. We wanna give you study case. Not everyone can prediction about COVID-19. It's destroy every country in this world. Don't focusing at prediction. We can just manifestation to bring our repair to our country. So, economic prediction is of a cryptocurrency. In our status quo in real life, this context viral, right? Bitcoin, etc. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and etc. So many successful people say that this crypto gonna give you a passive income, gonna give you a short rich in your life. In economic prediction context, so this is bad. This is so dangerous if this policy gonna affect to our society. For example, development country in our country in Indonesia, how our society believe that economic predictions, how to make people to get rich instead. You don't need to work, you don't need to get job, you don't need do anything to get you brainstorming. This is gonna bring our society into chaos of allowing for someone who can say economic prediction, this is bad. So, maybe this is all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Government Whip for the fine speech. And now to end and close the debate, inviting Opposition Whip here.
Check. Am I audible? Thank you. I'm going to start. Sorry, my pronoun prefer is he or him. And my name is Putu Krishna. I'm from Universitas Mahasaraswati Denpasar. I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the first analogy, it's better prepare your umbrella before it's rain. If it is rain, we have an umbrella. If it is not rain, I think still okay. Compared to if that is rain, but we do not have umbrella, of course we will have a bad circumstances that I'm going to start from, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the government whip, they believe that factually small things can change the economy. Society better know than, we do believe that as an opposition, society better know than they do not anything. The OG and also CG never explained to us why chaos will not happen in their side. Why this will not chaos when they do not know anything. Yes, of course chaos will easily happen because you do not know anything. Tomorrow you wake up in the morning, maybe why BBC go down, the stock market of BBC go down. We do not know anything, ladies and gentlemen. We just know if actually BBC is go down. Of course, as me as a society and also other people still believe that if actually this is maybe of manipulation. That is why we do believe that economic prediction is still necessary in the very first place, because we believe that if actually they at least know what happens, ladies and gentlemen. And the second one about Bitcoin, also Ethereum, believe that if actually every single influencer already told you if actually high risk and also high return. That is what they say, and I think there is no relevancy regarding Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, because influencer is the one that promoted by the Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just try to conclude what the explanation by OG and also CG. They believe that factually media is a bad actor, will be monopoly by 1%, and they are biased, ladies and gentlemen. It is okay for them to share information that can make our society in a bad circumstances. But first, there is a law. If there is a hoax from media, they will get punishment from KPI and even from the government. Second, there is a check and balance, right, for the information. If they made for 1%, most of the society will say to all of the people, this is not true, and there is a check and balance. The influencer will say anything. Remember, we live in the social media and also digitalization era. If you are a media, you are going to make a bad information. Of course, they will punish you, and the integrity of media in the end of the day will lose. Remember, in terms of media, they would like to have they gains rating, right? Trust to gain rating, they need to get trust from the society. They will lose their trust from the society if they prepare a bad information. We prove to you this is not will happen. Even if this manipulated by investor or 1% investor, they also has interest to make their business better in Indonesia. For example, Kompas owned by Indonesia people, right? They have to think their information benefit or not with Indonesia country based on their business bosses in Indonesia. They will try to sustain their business in Indonesia by providing the bad by providing a good information that can impose their invest in Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, media also has their ethic. One, entertain, two, educate their other people. They will not be able to sustain if the media are lying or manipulate the information, because they will significantly lose the ratings and also trust from the society. This is also not understand and no characterization that come from OG and also CG, the framework of predictions, ladies and gentlemen. How society will buy this prediction. They will never explain about that. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, economic prediction can be beneficial and can be harmful. What if the beneficial article, do you still do not want to publish that? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, characteristic economic predictions, they will happen in the future. They can happen in the future. Government, company, and also society will prepare these predictions and take the advantage of these predictions because they prepare. They can happen or not. For example, Indonesia will become developed country in 2045. This can be true or cannot be happen. Predictions, this is what will happen or not, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, predictions based on research, right? Because of this is will happen. That is the rules of a prediction. Because of this is will happen. If this is happen, this is not will happen. As long the prediction has a basis, for example, the prerequisite analysis, we as oppositions, especially closing, it's still okay to publish this kind of things. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, and also the case of OG and also CG, relying to, they believe that actually all of the society is lack of education. Remember, there is a conservative society and also progressive society. We do believe that progressive society is a very relying to the economic predictions. For example, they are consuming and following the prediction from the government or from academical research, ladies and gentlemen. They believe that they can do a check and balance, ladies and gentlemen, in the end of the day, because they knew the economic research. The conservative people, they are focusing on work, right? We do not understand about economy at the very first slide. That is why we need to give them economic predictions, ladies and gentlemen, because they do not know anything, ladies and gentlemen. No, thank you. They do not know anything. They should know at least one or two things that important that will happen in the next 1 or 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we need to educate them, because they are conservative regarding the economic analysis and also predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, economic predictions it's not only in the televisions. It also can based on journal and article, right? First, they made by researcher that has credibility. For example, a lecturer or docent in Indonesia, and also the students, college students. There is two check and balance, because first, they will be analyzed by researcher, and the second one, they will be analyzed by the reviewer and also publisher in the journal, ladies and gentlemen. There is two check and balance that involve. Media will not be able to change if to change the article or manipulate, because that is the real data. And we still believe that actually in the end of the day, media is not a bad villain. That the explanation by OG and also CG. We believe actually media is a good stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, that we need to collaborate in the very first place, ladies and gentlemen. Because of that, we can see if actually OG and also CG too relying, if actually the society is really not understand about the economic. We already provide to you if actually yes, most of them didn't know clearly about the economy, so that's why we need to educate them by giving the analysis prediction so they know what will happen, ladies and gentlemen. And like my first speaker explanation, if actually the society has a responsibility and the principal value, if they have to know this, ladies and gentlemen. It's like hiding the truth is a part of injustice action that can provide by the government and also media. They as a society is our part of our country, ladies and gentlemen. Building this country together, supervise the country together as a government and also as a society. Remember, society is also paying tax and also together build this country, ladies and gentlemen. They have a right to know this. This is what my experience first speaker explained and never discussed by in opening positions, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why we do believe that in our cases we can provide to you if actually the chaos is at least better in our side because they already know what has happened rather than they do not anything and they trust if actually this is manipulated by the 1% because they do not have any information access, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we are very proud to oppose this motion. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Opposition Whip, for the fine speech, and that marks the end of the debate in this room and also around. Thank you so much, everyone, for the debate. Now judges are going to deliberate, so please leave the room and wait for us to call.